Down there is coral wonderland and a lot of hungry fish. I'm on the number 10 ribbon reef. It's part of the outer barrier, a fringe of reefs running all along the wilderness area of the Cape York Peninsula. Here's the best of the Great Barrier Reef, the most exciting and the least explored. I'm above a wall of coral that plunges deep down into the coral sea. Every creature here seems to be always hungry, always feeding. Millions of coral polyps are devouring the plankton as it drifts past, and out here in the deeper water patrol the really big fish of the reef, the great black marlin and the big tiger sharks. Beneath the surface of these waters lies what must be the most beautiful battleground in the world. So join Ben and Lynn Cropp and me as we explore the coral wall of mouths.
The ribbon reefs, 10 in all, lie northeast of Cooktown on the outer edge of the Great Barrier Reef. These fingers of coral are protective walls against the Pacific swell, exposed only a meter high at low tide. They plunge 1,000 meters into the Pacific depths. For Ben Cropp and his wife Lynn, the ribbons have a special appeal, for they lie only a day's run from their home base in Port Douglas. Beneath the crystal waters at the top of number 10 awaits an exotic coral arena, a world of big fish and sharks, a wall of hungry mouths. When I return home from my world concert tours, my home is also Port Douglas, and my favorite relaxation is out here on the reef with Ben and Lynn. Ben has been diving all the Great Barrier Reef for 30 years. The best, he says, is right here. Along the seaward edge, the coral plateau drops abruptly into a dark blue abyss. How can tiny coral polyps possibly create such a gigantic structure? They build on the bones of their forebears. Each piece of coral consists of a dead calciferous skeleton coated with a layer of living polyps. The polyps continuously secrete lime and slowly build up a magnificent wall of coral. A colony of large potato cod live here in Cormorant Pass. This one was lucky to be released after its capture, but unlucky to be banded with a Marlin tag. It proves impossible to snip off the tag with wire cutters. The fish is friendly enough, but how do you keep it still? The operation requires a fish, a tasty morsel to fill those jaws instead of our fingers. This is my kind of sport. The sun, the salt air, and a fighting fish on the line. Our enjoyment is all for a good cause. What the sharks do not steal, the potato cod will eat. None of the catch will end up on our plate. Ben's diving assistant, Rick Burnup, lets me handle the operation from the jaws end while he holds the pliers. The tagged cod is joined by all his mates, and they never give us a chance. Ben has been patronizing this playful cod family for the past 10 years. He's seen and helped them fatten up to a good 70 kilos. But Ben has also witnessed their steady decline in numbers on the end of a spear or a fishing line. They sadly believe all humans are friendly and come to feed and play with them. This colony of friendly giants is unique to the reef. Ben saw the urgent need to protect them. He began a year-long lobby with Queensland government ministers and the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. We were having a beer back on board after this same dive when the news bulletin came through. The potato cod of Cormorant Pass are now fully protected under a newly declared marine park. Ben was grinning, and I think so were these lovable big cod. I risk my piano fingers again with a Moray eel, coming up next on Ben Cropp's Wall of Mouths. A big Moray eel popped out of the coral right beside me. He's a good 2 meters long and hungry. The Moray was welcome to the fish as long as he left my fingers intact. Ben had warned me before the dive that it was essential I feed the Moray if it appeared. Like a petulant child, if I refused to give the Moray what he wanted, he would simply take it. I had to feed him whether I wanted to or not. actually became fun after the initial bite, a real challenge. Hey, my fingers are insured anyway. Fish swarm over the top of the reef on the rising tide. Many are in search of food, while others, like this pair of surgeonfish, have some courting to do. The rising tide opens a vast feeding ground over the reef flat. Creatures who safely hid in coral pools on the low tide are now vulnerable to the larger predators. Whaler sharks prefer the deeper water, but on the high tide, they also forage on the reef top. Ben wishes to film and study the feeding behavior of the shark, but it's not an easy task. He searches along the reef edge of number 10 ribbon for the right place where many fish regularly congregate. The sharks will be there too. One feeding action triggers another. When the fish move over the reef top to feed, the sharks will follow. There's a shark, and it's feeding, right beside a little pool on the reef top. Perhaps this is a good place to film the predation.
Camera, Rick. There's a whole school of sharks just up here.
Oh, yeah?
Just in this little pool here.
I'll be right in, eh?
Can't unbelieve it. They're all whalers. Bring your camera.
Yeah,
Ben finds even more than he bargained for. There are 25 sharks in this one small pool. They're not feeding, just circling round, and very wary of the divers. Ben and Rick watch and wait. The rising tide now covers the reef top with almost a meter of water. This is the signal the sharks are waiting for. They desert the pool to forage on the reef top. "25 hungry sharks are cruising the coral plateau. Something is bound to happen, and Ben is eager to capture it all on film.
Oh, that was unreal, wasn't it? Why are they all just going round the pool and not doing much else?
They're waiting for the tide to come in. I saw it once before up in Pandora Entrance. And what they do, they use that place there as a stepping off. It's a nice little quiet place just to circle around, and as soon as the tide comes in enough to cover the reef, they go up over the top to feed.
We anchored for 3 days behind the shark pool, and Ben spent many hours studying this almost ritual behavior. Evidently, sharks, like fish, can also be gregarious. When they haunt the pool at low tide, they show no interest in eating the resident fish. The pool is the sharks' waiting room. They queue up to await the high tide, which opens the door to the reef top dining room. Wrestles one of these sharks, coming up next on Wall of Mouths. Ben wants to find out if he can alter the ritual pattern of behavior in the shark pool. Can the sharks be tempted to feed inside the pool? A freshly speared fish is laid out. The reaction is obvious. A shark cannot resist such an easy meal. Daredevil Rick relies on the old saying, never bite the hand that feeds you. When a shark is preoccupied with a jaw full of food, it'll not turn and bite. It's a calculated risk, and Rick knows he must let go when the shark swallows the meal. We learned a great deal about shark behavior while diving in the pool.
Do I need another one on this or not?
Well, okay. You put another one on, didn't you?
There's one here, I think. Oh, the one that I used before.
Today the reef edge beckons us, for under the boat we had glimpsed briefly what seemed to be a magnificent coral garden.
Ta-da! Okay.
Scientists have recorded over 1,500 species of fish on the Barrier Reef. The diversity of fish on this reef is overwhelming. On this one dive, we saw thousands of fish of perhaps 100 different species. These are the architects of the changing landscape. The coral polyps are extended and feeding on planktonic shrimp. fish gnaw at the coral wall and help produce the fine white sand patches below. When the Lima Lima bivalve bounces into the open, it dances for its own survival. The most exotic dancer is this nudibranch. We are amidst a world of living color in this coral garden. Nature's garden is not complete without its serpent. Sea snakes are the most venomous of all reptiles. Ben uses a simple maneuver to avoid a confrontation. His flipper blocks the myopic vision of this curious snake. The future of our reef will rely on the attitudes of our next generation. 2-year-old Dean enjoys every lesson. Our ancestors found little enjoyment on the reef. We find relics of their disasters. Coming up next on Ben Cropp's Wall of Mouths. Those fish we saw in the daytime are now asleep in the coral. The night shift of different prowlers await us below.
It looks like a swimming pool out there. What do you think we'll find?
I know. Fish asleep. Hold this for me, Rick. Yes. Second. So the crucial strap. You right? Yeah. Can you hold this a moment, please? My goodie. Right. My neck cord. Lamp on, please.
Okay.
Right. Hey, Danny.
The beam of light seems to paint radiant colors on the coral floor. It also dazzles the daytime fish who are trying to sleep. Beaver heads north from the Ribbon Reefs. Ben's destination is Raine Island in the far north, where an abundance of sharks and the turtles may provide some action in his studies on predation. Ben weaves beaver along a coral wall which snakes northward as an almost impenetrable barrier. His navigation must be precise. This area is steeped in our earliest history. Bligh boat entrance is past. It's where Captain Bligh found a passage through the reef on his open boat voyage after the famous mutiny. Providential Channel provides us with a good meal, but Captain Cook so named it when he guided the Endeavour through the reef after almost going aground for the second time. Many ships, which were to follow in Cook's intrepid path, were not so lucky. The black line, so clearly visible across the reef, is an anchor chain. At its end will lie the remains of an old sailing ship.
Just stop, Rick.
What is it?
Yeah, I think I've got the wreck here. Let's have a look. See this dark patch just over here?
Yeah. Oh, just to the left of that break?
Yeah, just on that left. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a wreck.
Yeah.
Worth having a look.
Great Detached Reef is truly a graveyard of ships. Ben is about to dive on the 7th shipwreck he has discovered on this one reef. In silent testimony to the power of wind and wave, her chain stretches taut across the reef for a full cable length of 200 meters. In a futile gesture to hold the stricken ship, her huge bower anchor marks the spot where the ship hit the reef. Ben's research indicates she is probably the German ship Bonhoeffer, lost in 1853. Her captain, his wife, and 6 crewmen were drowned. The storm which threw her over the reef was powerful enough to break off this anchor fluke. The team explore the other 6 shipwrecks on Great Detached Reef. These lead ingots are stamped with the foundry name of W. Blackett. They come from the Sapphire, lost in 1859, and weigh a heavy 60 kilos each. Ben will take these historic relics back to his shipwreck museum in Port Douglas. Finding hidden relics in a wreck takes a sharp eye. Tasty inhabitants are much easier to locate. A shark has his taste of Rick, coming up next on Ben Cropp's Wall of Mouths. Wave action and storms erode the reef top and pile the rubble into one corner. A tiny sand cay forms. It may shift, grow larger, or wash away at the whim of the sea. It's an idyllic place for a family outing. As a cay enlarges, visiting birds drop seeds and vegetation appears. Now it's a prolific nesting site for many terns and turtles. The majority of sand cays lie here in the far north. Raine Island has the largest seabird rookery with 13 nesting species, including 10,000 terns. The waters off Raine Island swirl with thousands of green turtles as they await the night tide to nest ashore. Scientists estimate an incredible 200,000 turtles come here every year. An average of 4 turtles die every day on Raine Island Beach. But what seems a tragedy plays only a small part in the drama of life. For this island probably returns to the sea each year some 20 million turtle hatchlings. Raine Island has always been a graveyard. The same reef that provides for the turtle also traps unwary sailors. This tower was built in 1844 as a beacon to guide ships through the reef passage and to provide a cache of food and shelter for any castaways. Two 3-meter tawny sharks have swum in close to the beach. They have only small teeth, but the strength of a bull if you try to tag a ride. Just as the tower gave hope of life to the castaway, this island on a coral wall has before and since given hope and life to so many creatures. My sport is fishing. Mandy Fleischman, our lovely cook, is waiting for me to catch the dinner. The flesh of red bass is often poisonous. We'll use this one, hopefully, to burley up more fish. The many whaler sharks intrude on our fishing and are quite a nuisance to release. Ben puts his weight on the tail while Rick struggles to free the hook. It all happened so fast, the shark sank his teeth into Rick's finger all the way to the bone. The sudden bite gave Rick quite a shock, But Lynn, a qualified nursing sister, soon stops the bleeding.
No, it's better to give it a couple of days and suffer not being able to go diving than have it get bad, because it's quite deep. It's right to
A
the
butterfly
bottom.
bandage neatly closes the deep gash.
That should do, I think. So those suitors will keep it together.
I might go and stab him.
He's still down there, you can take your revenge.
Ben turns Beaver south on the long trek back to the Ribbon Reefs. It's late in November, and a heavy sou'easter gives us a stormy passage. Ben wishes to rendezvous with the many game boats, now fishing for the great black marlin. He knows that huge tiger sharks are also lured to the marlin hunt. I'm trying to catch a small fish for dinner, but what's on the end of my line would surely feed an ocean liner. It's a really big sailfish. I can't land it on my light tackle. Still, it's fun to fight till the line breaks. On board another boat, the Salt Shaker, the battle with the black marlin has been going on for hours. The fisherman will soon have to cut the line, unless he can bring the big fish alongside for tagging and release before the sun sets. Ben runs for the Lizard Island anchorage in the fading light. It's been an exciting day for me, but tomorrow will bring even more action when huge tiger sharks attack the mighty marlin. That's coming up next on Wall of Mouths. Ribbon Reefs offer the best marlin fishing in the world, and the game boats have organized their own conservation of marlin stocks. Over 90% of all marlin captured are tagged and released. The crewman with a pole is trying to place the tag, but before the trace can be cut to release the fish, a big tiger shark chomps into the helpless creature. Ben has witnessed many savage conflicts in the sea, but rarely has he seen it between two giant predators at the top of the food chain. He plans to study and film this awesome savagery under controlled conditions. Those few marlin not released into freedom are brought to the mothership to be weighed. They're generally the biggest marlin, the giants, which may just topple the existing record. The fish weighs in at 410 kilos. It's big, but well short of the record. The carcass will not be wasted. Ben will take it away to feed the fishes, to the biggest of sharks he can lure on the reef. The death of a magnificent fighter may seem sad to many people, but remember that marlin fishing is the only fishing activity in which the fish almost always regains its freedom. The ebbing tide will take the burley seaward through the pass. All we can do is wait for the sharks to cross the trail and follow the marlin slick back to Beaver. Whaler sharks are the first to appear. Their feeding will send signals attracting the bigger sharks. It took another hour for the first big fin to appear, and even then we had to wait for the cautious tiger to take the first bite. Nothing will stop a feeding orgy after that initial bite. Ben will film from a special platform he has designed. If he was foolish enough to enter the water now, he'd be eaten. The open cage places Ben right into the action with a reasonable degree of safety.
Take all the boat up.
When a tiger bites, a white membrane flicks across its eye to protect it. This eyelid is called a nictitating membrane. Ben gambles that the shark will only be interested in the marlin. The 4-meter monster is quite capable of wrenching the platform off the back of beaver. A second tiger has joined the first, and we can see more shadows circling below. Their distendable jaws can encircle 50 kilos of meat, and they bite, twist, and gulp to tear the large chunks off. There is no doubt in Ben's mind that these sharks can see us quite clearly above the water. It's an incredible experience for us to study so closely these awesome feeding machines.
Oh, beautiful. Head on.
The protecting eyelid blinds the shark's vision as it bites, and Rick can click off a real close-up if he's quick.
Got it? Watch out for your foot there.
It's like a scene from the movie Jaws, but our monsters are real. We counted 10 tiger sharks taking turns to demolish a 400-kilo fish in a matter of minutes. Ben's underwater studies along the coral wall have gained results. Foremost is the total protection achieved for these potato cod of Cormorant Pass. The hungry sharks, biding their time in the coral pool, show that harmony still exists between predator and prey, and the predator never goes so far as to cause extinction of that prey.
We tend to think of life in the sea as unrelenting savagery, but the more divers like Ben and Lynn Cropp explore the northern region of the Great Barrier Reef, the more they become aware of the harmonious side that exists on the reef. These reefs, which can wreck a ship, also offer sanctuary with little tiny sand islands nearby. While the islands seemingly impose impossible odds for survival, the sea creatures that come here by blind instinct do survive. We are the aliens in this coral world, but only we can upset the delicate balance that the sea creatures have achieved among themselves in the struggle to survive.